Kirby came out and let everybody know publicly that his team was soft. It's that time of year again in Athens. Pads are popping, fall camp is underway, and the Dogs just had their first scrimmage. So of course that means that everybody's freaking out about every little detail. That's okay. That's what this time of year is for. The word coming out of Athens is about what you would expect. It was hot as blazes as the Dogs went out and held their first scrimmage in Sanford Stadium this past Saturday. Kirby came out and let everybody know publicly that his team was soft and that they weren't where they needed to be as far as mental toughness was concerned heading into the season. According to Coach, as far as leadership was concerned, nobody stepped up and took control. Everybody was just trying to survive the practice. There were a lot of panic plays. Things were sloppy on offense for sure. Now, there were players that made plays, and there were some good things that happened. But Kirby clearly wanted to let everybody know that he wasn't pleased with how things looked. Now, you may ask yourself, why would Kirby do this? Why would he call his players out in public and let everybody know that they didn't look like the consensus #1 team in the country during their first scrimmage, at least not in every way? Well, there's a good reason. Keep in mind that this roster, according to Kirby, at least 50% of it has been in the program less than 2 seasons. That means that there's nobody on this team that has gone out there and led a championship season. They haven't won the hardware. When they had the opportunity to get that done against Alabama, they didn't do it, Carson Beck included. And Kirby, even though we've heard that there are leaders on this team, that he's proud of how the offseason has gone, he wasn't happy with the way things shook out on Saturday. No, when it got hot under the Georgia heat in Sanford on Saturday, apparently they wilted. Take this with a grain of salt now. I'm not an insider. I wasn't at the scrimmage. I don't have contacts inside the program that I'm reaching out to get you this information. This is all publicly available, and that was done for a reason. Kirby wanted it out there that his team did not perform up to the levels that he believes they are capable of performing this past Saturday. And then there's the injuries. I mean, football is a contact sport. It's a violent sport. And we had heard that things were, there were a few guys that were a little dinged up, but things were moving along okay. Things were progressing ahead of the August 31st game against Clemson at Mercedes-Benz. But apparently, what we saw at the scrimmage on Saturday is that things might not be quite as rosy as we had been led to believe. They still think that they're going to get these players back, but there were a couple of key players that have had setbacks. So everything's not okay, at least not right now. It appears that there's a real chance that at least 2 interior linemen that the Dogs are going to be counting on heavily might not be available against the Tigers on the 31st. I'm not outright saying they're going to miss the game. I'm just saying that it looks like there's a chance they might not be able to go. If we know anything about Kirby Smart, we know that he is intentional. We know that he's a straight shooter, and he doesn't do anything without a purpose. So it's safe to assume that his post-scrimmage remarks were made with a specific audience in mind, and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't you or me or any other diehard Dog fan among us. Let's be real. When you are the Georgia Bulldogs, the consensus preseason #1 team in the country, you aren't worried about talent on the roster or effort. You're concerned with your culture of competition. You are obsessed with accountability. You are working at sharpening the edges, looking for any way to improve at the margins. And I am certain that's what Kirby Smart is doing here. Football is back, and football comes with challenges, mental toughness, injuries. It's all a part of the game. Will this Georgia Bulldogs team be able to overcome these challenges? Will it look different the next time they're on the field for a scrimmage? Will it look different when they take the field against Clemson and Mercedes-Benz on August 31st to kick off the season? If these Dogs are who we think they are, probably. Georgia's favored to win the SEC. They're favored to win the national championship. Individual award lists, there are dogs scattered all over them. But to a man, they're going to tell you that none of that matters. All that matters is the pursuit of excellence, stacking winning days, and developing an unwavering mental toughness is part of that process. Kirby knows this. When you are the Georgia Bulldogs, the consensus #1 team in the land, And you exist in a tier where championships are the only metric that really matters. There's nothing more important in the sweltering days of August than developing that mental toughness. Go Dogs!
Told them, how about them fucking dogs? That's what I told them.